Hello and welcome to Flory Models Friday Roundup Show. Here we are with you on October the 8th, 2021, after a very busy week. And do you know what? I know I say that every single week, which I do. I'm going to take them all back because this week has been sort of unprecedented, because of it. So everything I've said to you where it's been a busy week technically was a lie because it hasn't been anything like this week. Talk about a full-on week. Anyway, as you probably all know, last weekend was our first ever Flory Fest. And to be honest, it was one of those things where in typical Flory model sort of fashion, it was sort of scribbled out on the back of an envelope, and it was like, well, look, we'll just be very organic with it. As you probably realise, for everybody who's been following me for the last 20 years doing this, I don't like a script. I don't like it to be too scripted. I don't want questions lined up. I just literally like to make it flow, because I think it's just a little bit more natural. And obviously having you guys available, obviously the Flory family in chat room, our own one, and obviously the social media ones as well, it was a great way to fill the entire weekend with a nice bit of mixture of working on stuff. So obviously I did quite a lot of work theoretically. I've never done as much in my life, as well as doing live as well. And that's the nice thing, because obviously if it is scripted and it's like done to timelines and stuff like that, you're sort of bound in between those boundaries. So if it does go over, it doesn't matter, but obviously if you give yourself a half-hour slot to do it, that's all you can do. And that was the nice thing about it. And it was great that I know a lot of you were obviously popping in and out of the show and then catching up with it later and things like that. So I think that's definitely going to be our format. Obviously make a few little tweaks in there, things like that. But generally it went really, really well. And a massive thank you to everybody who watched, because again, I've said we've been using the word unprecedented because I've never had that many people watching us live. As in we were up to 1,000 at one point were watching us live, and we've never got anywhere near that. And then obviously the amount of playbacks onto that one, and then the amount of interactivity, the amount of emails I was getting, you guys joining in with other social media as well, which admittedly I have now found out a lot more how it works, having never really used Instagram or even know how it works. And as you might know with Facebook, I'm not really on there anyway. So a lot of you were sending me pictures and things like that, which I didn't get because they're in different areas. But now I know about it. The next one we'll all be lined up. But it was a great way for you guys to just send your photos up via social media. We could show them on there, and it just kept the conversation and the entire weekend going. Because to be honest with you, it might be that thing where we are just sat here talking and doing a bit of modelling, but there's so much goes behind the scenes as well, of just obviously setting up the streams, keeping them all going, making sure they're all good, making sure the quality's there and everything else like that from the stream, so no one's either buffering or with drops out and all the rest of it, as well as obviously the sound. And again, little thing to that one, just a little caveat, a few people have mentioned it to me. I think we've cured the problem with the echo, so from future big shows that shouldn't be an issue either, because I think we've actually got that down pat now. So all those little things, little tiddly little bits and pieces in there which just annoy me because I like pretty much a polished product. Hopefully next time it will be a lot better. So definitely, but a massive thank you, because again we had tons of orders. The poor guys up at PM, you've got Matt and the team working up there now, and they're absolutely snowed under. It's been massive amount of orders and various things coming through. The same here as well. Like I said before, it looks like we've been raided, because over the weekend I'm going to have to start tidying up. I've got boxes all down here of stuff from on this side, and then my unit down there, which is obviously where we do all the manufacturing of obviously the washes and the sanders and the bits and pieces. It literally looks like it's been ransacked, because again, it's just that thing, getting the orders out, grabbing stuff, and obviously getting stuff out to the stockists and the distributors as well. So obviously we had a large order go out to the US this week. We had a very large order go out obviously to Greece as well for our EU distributors. So again, and then Matt's had a huge one up at PM Store as a quick restock, and we're going to get another one next week as well. So again, it's one of those things with all of that going on and the normal orders on top of it as well. It made it pretty much a full-on type of weekend, and then working through this week doing that at the same time with a few other things that come along. It's been one of those where it's like, next week goes back to normal, and I'm really looking forward to it, so you can sort of relax. I'm going to get back to doing some building. I'm going to be working on this one. I keep saying about it. I really wanted to get started on this week, but as you can see, it's still in its box. And again, I've got to do some reviews. I've got reviews down here to get on with, but literally over the last 2 weeks for sorting everything out, I just haven't had a chance to get near anything like that. So it will be nice to get back to some normal modelling, but boy, did we enjoy it. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. It was just one of those ones where you can just sort of kick back, come in, come out, ask questions, and then all the rest of it that goes with it as we make our way on. Anyway, we'll talk about a bit more of that in a minute. First up, we have, as you can see down in here, there we go, I actually took this on just after the show finished on Sunday night. So this is the completed Vulcan. You might know, obviously, we did all the weathering on the Vulcan, and then I finished off the Lightning build that me and Matt have been doing on Saturday mornings for the last year. So those were both finished off, and also we put the Hawk together when we had Paramjit from Airfix on with us as well. They sent me that kit down, so I popped it together. It's a great little kit, goes together well. I will get it deckled as well at some point. But anyway, we all started on Monday. For this week anyway, was with the final part, or the penultimate part of the actual Vulcan build as we went through with this one. So as you can see, it was all about bringing it together at this stage. So it was getting it on its gear, going through that. Yes, I did forget to put the doors on, because obviously you don't put the gear in first, kids. Put the actual doors in, then the gear. But anyway, we did a simple fix on that one. So we got it all onto its gear, and actually it went down really, really well, as you can see. We did a few of the little fiberglass panels. We painted all of those in, all ready to go. We did simple sort of post-good job doing the actual windscreen wipers. Apparently it's missing one, but to be honest, I didn't know this until everyone pointed it out. We did the windows on there as well, all the various things, as you see, going through there. And then we started going around and adding all the little details. So obviously blue steel gets fitted into this one, unmasking it, getting the pitot tubes on and all the rest of it, completing off the build as a standard build, lightly weathered. And that's really how I wanted to leave it from a point of view of actually doing a video build. But then obviously, as you know, I then went on and weathered it over the weekend. But anyway, it's been a fantastic build. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Said before, have to say big thank you to Airfix, because they sent me that kit. Normally, as you say, I buy all my kits and everything, but honestly, that one was sent to me by them as a freebie. And like I pointed out, I've been waiting 20 years for it and been going on about 20 years for it. If anyone deserves it, it was me for pushing that kit along for so many years. I am not disappointed. It's a beautiful kit, you know, and I know there's various talks going on about accuracy and shape, but clearly you're talking to the wrong person, because to me it looks like a Vulcan. It goes together absolutely fantastically, and it's great. And to be honest, I know you can't see it, but I've now mounted it to the wall. It's up here, so I've got a B52, I've got my Vulcan, I've got the B17, I've got the TU95 Bear, and I've got my A10 all hanging up here now, and they look absolutely fantastic. And again, it's one of those builds which it didn't disappoint from start to finish. It was a great kit going together, and kudos over to the actual design team as well. Some very nice parts in there, that the way it goes together, which if you've ever built the old one, you'll know the hassles of getting wings on and seams and stuff. They completely nailed it, because those seams are in really nice straightforward areas to clean out and to sand and to polish and to make good. So actually it turned out really, really nicely, and hopefully, as I say, we're going to be seeing a couple more versions of that come along in the future, and boy, they'd be lovely. They'd be absolutely lovely. So well done to Airfix on that particular one. That was a great build. Tuesday, obviously we were talking clearly about the weekend and everything, and what I did was I re-edited the live show that obviously we did on the Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon when I did weather the Vulcan. I went back and actually re-edited it in a form. It is live, because clearly I'm talking to all you guys as we're actually putting it together, but I did a start to finish unedited, well, obviously from the live point of view, of doing the weathering, so you could watch me weather this completely live right the way through with it. But again, I absolutely love it. It's a great kit, and I think even with the weathering, which I know people are going to say it's a little bit over the top because they were glossy in those days and various things, I just wanted to give her that sort of warm look. Perhaps she's been on exercise and deployed and coming back, so it hasn't been completely polished and cleaned yet, but I'm happy with it. It turned out really, really nicely, and again, I loved weathering and building along with you guys live. If I could do all of my video builds live, I would. You know, we've got 4 cameras in here, 3 audio and things like that. That's where it gets a little bit, because it is just me and a button box. So I have to flick around all the cameras whilst watching you, and it's a lot easier to do it edited afterwards if you like. But it's something quite nice about you watching it come to life. So any cock-ups I make, you can see how I deal with it. And as you'll know, if you have watched that particular video, and again, you can go off if you don't want to sit through the entire thing and watch the edited version, you'll know how I get really involved with my modelling as well. So it's that thing about getting your fingers into it and blending with your fingers and going things around with it with oils and stuff like that to give it a nice warm down look to the entire model. But no, really, really happy with it. Turned out lovely, and it was that sort of final little thing that I was determined to save up and do it as a live show with you guys over the weekend. So that was nice. But there she goes, all finished, all done. Very, very happy it turned out. So really on Tuesday we were talking about that, and then obviously on Tuesday was the edited version, so you can go up. Now this has been linked in now, and it is obviously up on YouTube and all the rest of it. It's a 15-parter right the way through, and it will stay up there. This isn't a limited thing. I've had a couple of people message me about how long is it going to be left up before it gets locked away. It won't. It'll always be a freebie video to watch, so you can go off and see it just like that if you want to. And again, don't forget, if you can't find it, literally just go into here, go video builds up here at the top, and it's up here. It will drift down over time because this is how it goes. It sort of, you know, gets pushed down, but it is in here, and the entire videos from start to finish are down in here. So if you don't want to watch them on obviously YouTube Direct, you can see them all the way down in here. And then obviously we have got high-res photos of the entire thing. So if you want to have a nice close-up look at it and go around a bit, you can just click these, and obviously you'll get the full photos up with it just like that, as well as we've got the high-res images from all of the actual build as well. So you can just click on all of these and work your way through to see how it all goes together in that one as well. So it's all just in one place here on the actual Flory model site if you want to see that one. Last night, because we're all absolutely cream crackered after the weekend, we decided just to have a light-hearted show and really just a chit chat, and it went really, really well. Obviously we were talking next year's group builds and SIGs for the actual scratch building or kit bashing or Greebly one. I think everyone's really excited about. Again, we've all got to wait for that one to start until the second half of next year, but generally some great group builds and things coming up. Massive thank you obviously for Nathan up here, who puts all these together for us and does all that information and answers any of your questions right the way through. But obviously big thanks to all the team for the weekend. I know poor old Andy's suffering, obviously he's not very well at the moment. Poor old Matt, I think he's going to need a holiday after this going through. But big thanks also for John and Nathan for coming in and stepping up to the bench right the way through this particular weekend. Anyway, if you do want to see that one again, you can see that just down in here like there. So one other big thing I've been working on at the moment is obviously the new tutorial section, which you'll know if you've been following along over the last 2-3 weeks now. I basically took last month off to do quite a lot of work behind the scenes and things about new tutorials. Now the trouble you get with tutorials is that there's just so many of them out there and all the rest of it, and some of them get a little bit long-winded and a little bit waffly, shall we say, with me going off. So I thought what we would do is get them down to a more concise area, a little bit more punchy, and a little bit so you can go in, get the information and get out, okay, without being bogged down with having to watch a, you know, a half hour, 1 hour, 4 hour video on a particular subject. So what we've done is we've been using, this is the Revell Spitfire Mark 9, and to be honest it's a lovely kit. I've got the Tamiya version over there which we've done as a full video build, but we've been using this one purely because it's not a perfect kit, which is what I enjoy about modelling. I enjoy having the little things of having to sand and obviously doing filler work and obviously little bits of rescribing and re-riveting. I'm not a martyr. I don't want to be working on something that's going to take me forever, but I do enjoy the construction phase of doing a model. You know, painting and weathering, as we said before, is one of those things where everybody's model will be completely different. No matter, do 100 modelers, you'll get 100 different types of aircraft in there. Even if you're doing the same one, they'll all look good and probably very much similar from 10 feet away. You get close, everyone will look different. What I'm trying to do is get everybody up to that stage, so when you're like this and just before you're about to go into primer and things, your model is to a standard which is going to work with the next stages of painting and weathering. So i.e. you don't have any gaps, you don't have any rough textures on your model, and you don't have any problems with it. So you've got it to a good stage. You know, we're not talking about aftermarket in this, we're just talking about general construction and going right the way through with it. So what we've done is, if you go into the main site and you're just down in here like this, and then you go over to tutorials now, you'll notice this is all changed down in here now, and there is some photos over as well to give you a clue about what's going on. It is split into two, so we've got basic modeling 101 and you would have basic airbrushing 101, but I couldn't get it fit in, so you've got just the two there. If you click on it now, it'll take you in. This is the full first part of it. So if you wanted to watch it like a video build, you can just click here, and it's around about an hour and 15 minutes, and it will get you pretty much along to here so far with the construction. What will happen is there will be a part 2 to this, which will then carry on from the gluing and the actual sanding and filling on until we go into primer, and then it will switch over to the other side. So there is going to be another one. But as you can see down in here, we got some of the stills from this right the way through. And again, with all of these, you can just click on it and go full screen to have a bit of a scoot through to see what it is. But hopefully these will give you a good idea of exactly what's going on, like here when we use the filler and things like that for cleanup. So you can see what the effects we're getting in glorious Technicolor, just like that. Then working your way down, some of these you would have seen before, some of these are brand new. So now we've got the actual planning your build. So again, this isn't trying to teach you how to suck eggs or, you know, make you into a better modeler. It's just explaining how I go through the processes of it. So if you're new to this or you're a returnee and things like that, these are probably good ones to watch. So that's about planning your builds right the way down in there. And then we got some other ones. So we got ones about removing parts from the spruce. As you can see, we've got other ones down in here about different types of glues. We've got one down in here about flash. So what is flash? How do you get rid of it? How do you identify it? Things like that. That's down in there. We've then got Bitesize on construction and gluing. So obviously this is a bit about when to use what glues, when to use an extra thin, when to use the thick glue, when to use the super glue, things like that. We've also got down in here about styrene filler and scrape cleaning, which is a technique I'm using more and more and more these days. So you can see that down in there. Then we've got one about fillers and cleanup. So that's that one we were looking at before. So that's looking at different types of how to take care of seam lines. So about using styrene sheet, about using acrylic putties down in here, and then obviously about how to use your traditional putties, like your alcohol based ones and your dissolved putties and things like that. So they're down in there as well. To cross feed all of these over here, you've got some other stuff as well. So we've got some dry brushing and weathering, simple job about weathering your cockpits and things down in there. We've got ones on polishing and masking canopies. We've got ones about making simple harnesses out of a little bit of foil, and we've got ones about making your own styrene filler. So these do cross feed across to each other. So if you don't know about styrene filler, we've got the video there right next to it that's about it. And again, sanding, this is a full video about sanding, when to use what sanders, so forth and so on, and how to sand. Sounds stupid, but trust me, a lot of people do use the wrong grits all the time. What also you'll notice down in here, we've got links. So it's a shameless plug, but if you click on here, it takes you to that product on the PM page. So obviously, you know, I'm not saying you have to buy from PM. It would be nice if you did. But obviously, these are all free to watch videos. So if you want to help support the channel and things like that, you can just buy a few bits and pieces if you wanted to. Obviously, if you're in the UK, from the PM store. So that's down in here. So certain tools that I'm using, you will see down in here. So when we talk about, you know, sanders and polishers, clearly you go to a PM store for sanders and polishers, they're up there. But also if you wanted to know about various tools and scrapers and things like that, or masking tapes, so that's a good one, click on here, it takes you to masking tapes now. So it gives you an idea of the products I'm using, what they are, a little bit more detail, and if you wanted to get them, how much they're going to cost you. But even if you just wanted to get the part number and get it from somewhere else, you can do that. So over here we've got one, and it's obviously it's talking about oils, so I've got a link here to the Abtai Lung oils. So again, it's a nice straightforward. And what I'll do is I will upgrade and do all the various part numbers for the stuff that I use as well. As you'll see in a moment, some of them already have. But down in here as well, we've got all the tools that I tend to use as well, because obviously I only use what we sell in a way. It's why we sell it, is because I use it. So that's linked to you down in there just like that. Again, so it's all pretty straightforward, and then just click the back button and it will take you straight back. This will increase every week on week. There'll be more stuff going into this as we make our way through. Okay, so that's down in there like that. So that's basic modeling. Then we come across to the new airbrushing one. So the airbrushing one, again, some of these you might have seen, some of these you won't have. So we've got the various ones. So we've got the first one up here is just talking about an airbrush. Basically my setup, so you would have seen this maybe on a Tuesday. As I said, some of you would have seen this, some of you wouldn't, and that is down in there. So I go right the way through my setup. So if I do this, we are muted, we talk about obviously my setup in all its glory. As you can see, there's my TC620 and my spare tank down in there, but also up in here we talk about obviously my spray booths, everything I use right the way through. And then a little bit later on, obviously we go through airbrush maintenance. So we talk about different types of airbrushes, how they They have their nozzle setups, as you can see, so forth and so on. Then I do some really brilliant artistic drawings about various things of how an airbrush actually works. And then we talk about distances and cones and various things, as you can see. It's all very high tech. And then we do a basics about airbrushing and various things to it. So you can see all of that one down in there. Some of these old ones you've probably seen before. To be honest, this is the one about my bench that we use. And again, I've got the links down here for you that take you to the company. Don't forget, Flory Models members do get a discount from this. Hopefully it's going to work. There we go. So that's all with the actual spray booths and all the different ones they do in there as well. But that's the company they actually come from. So that is down in there just like that. And then again, I will do one up here for my mask and all the others. You'll get all the names in there and everything else. Same goes with my compressor setup and obviously where I got mine. And don't forget, Flory Models members, you get 10% off of these as well. So that's the actual compressors that I recommend, not just the one that I've got. That's the one I actually recommend, things like that. So they are down in here. And then, as I said, some of these you would have seen before. We've got Bitesize on airflow. So it talks about air pressure when you've got no air, when you've got too much, not enough, perhaps you've got the wrong nozzle, various things. It's all troubleshooting in that particular video why your airbrush doesn't work. So that's down in there. And again, high res photos to show you some of the bits we're talking about down in here right the way through. So your nozzles and your outer caps, you can see the different sizes in there. Again, it's a nice way of doing it now because it's very difficult to see it on video, but you can see it there. Then we talk about paint mixes. So down in there as well, you've got your paint mixes. Then we talk about obviously your paint mix, your air and your distance, how that is affected as well. And then obviously we've got one all about textures, which we speak about all the time. So watch that video about textures and it will talk to you all about roughness and how it affects everything. And like we said before and spoke about it in the Vulcan at the weekend, texture is something you don't want on your model until you're weathering in it, because you just want it all to be smooth, so your decals go down smooth and all your paint layers. When you do want texture is when you're using oils and pigments and washes, because it gives them something to grip to and something to bite to, which gives you a more weathered look right the way through. So all of those videos are up there right now. They are all free to watch as well. So you don't have to be a Flory Models member to see those ones. It's just my little way of giving back. And again, if you did want to support us, obviously links are down in there for all the different products that we do and sell obviously at the PM store. But you don't have to. You can just grab the number from it, excuse me, and get it somewhere that's a little bit closer to you as you make your way through. My voice is going from the weekend still. So anyway, that is going to increase as well. What we are going to be doing is moving on with this one next week again. So I'm going to get the canopy onto this one, the final parts onto it. Then obviously we'll be talking about putting the canopy down, masking it and sealing it. Then we're going to be talking about primers. We've done one already, but we might do a new version of primer showing it on here. Then we are going to talk about obviously the paint system right the way through. So of course you can go off and just watch some of the giant video builds that we've done. But again, because they're 15, 16 parts, you know, which is usually around about a 30 to 40 hour video, you know, with these ones you can just sit down and watch it in a nice 10-minute, 15-minute segment that talks about it and gets you the information you need. The biggest point to all of this is that thing about how, when and why. Okay, so it's that thing about, you know, okay, that's how we're going to put it down. Why is it done that and how can we fix it? So again, if we're talking about textures, we talk about how to fix it, how to stop those problems coming along. But a lot of these videos will show you why it's gone wrong and how to fix it. And I think that's more important than showing you how to do it in the first place. Because again, a lot of us know how to airbrush, but it's how to know to get that nice glossy finish, that lovely smooth finish. So when you are moving on with obviously clear coats going on and then decaling, they're not a problem. They just go down easily. And then obviously we talk about putting in camo work, different ways of doing camo work will be on this one, so forth and so on. And then what we're going to be doing, or I'm going to be doing over the next few months, is working on other projects to show you a little bit more in detail. So again, this is the basic one, just shake and bake really out. Next one up, we're going to be doing a Mustang, going to add a little bit to this one, we're going to do a little bit more to it, really bring it up, and then obviously a bit more of a complicated paintwork, being metal finishes and camo as well and things like that onto it, and then obviously moving forward with a more advanced, heavily weathered type look to it as well. So each step hopefully will show you as make our way along the way. Again, it's something I've wanted to get this done for a long time, and now the opportunity is finally here. I am sort of embracing it and grabbing it as make our way on. Anyway, as you can see, these videos are all down in here. A lot of them have got links. They will have more links because I've got a page full of links upstairs to add to them, but it's getting the layout right and everything else. But don't forget, if you are in the Flory Model site and you are literally just down in here, just pop along to tutorials, this one in the middle, click it in there and then just click the ones. The old favorites are still here. So if you click down in here to classics, here's me, age 10. or it feels like it. But anyway, all the videos, so there is going to be some crossover because I have pinched a few for here, but down in here you've got the one which we did about 5-6 years ago now, which was the airbrushing live. I am still going to do some live stuff with you in the winter as well, all about airbrushing, but for the moment they're down in here, and we've got other ones which are great. So it's about various tips and tricks down in here, as you can see, the basics of airbrushing, stuff like that. So they are still available to watch there, as is obviously the quick tips one. And the quick tutorials, which is basically bite-sized. These will go over time, but if you're looking for them at the moment, they are somewhat still down in here, but these are all going to get superseded by newer modern videos as we make our way through with this one. So again, there is a little bit of crossover, but I don't want to get rid of them until everyone's finished watching them, so to speak. But anyway, that's the first bit. This will then obviously grow over time, as we said, and get more and more into it. But obviously don't forget, it doesn't take away from doing the full video builds, because I'm still going to be doing those as well. So that was my week. How was yours? So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to get this thing sorted out. As I say, it's all still a loose fit, which is the nice thing about this kit. I love the way it just clicks together. It's great. So we're going to get this one into primer next week, and we're going to move through with it with that. So those videos will just evolve over the next few weeks. I want to get 1 or 2 parts of that done every single week, so we get it all sorted out in time for Christmas, and then next year we'll be getting on with new products. But as I said, it doesn't take away from anything. I'm still going to be doing other things. So next week, my first ever video build of a sub. So we're doing a bit of a classic down in here. So we're doing the Delta 4 from the Delta series of Russian subs. So this one I think was actually started service in 1987. So it just fits nicely into the Comrade Buller SIG as well. So this will be my entry for the end of the year for that particular SIG as we make our way through. So lots of fun with that one. Having never done a sub before, how hard can it be? You watch this, it'll be a nightmare now, start to finish that kit. I'm sure it won't, it'll be lovely. Anyway, I will be back with you next week, back to normality with any luck, so we're going to get some reviews done for you. We'll get this one on the go with it, and as I said before, we're going to be working on those video builds as always. So anyway, I'm going to leave it right there. Happy modelling, take care. As always on a Friday, I'm going to leave you with your great work. So until next week, take care.
I was not ready to falling like I'm wasted.